Yo, so recently we reviewed the M28U and a few of you have been asking me for settings because I think this monitor absolutely pops, but you may not have been able to get the most out of colors yourself. So I'm gonna flip over, I'm gonna show you, just gonna record the screen and run through the kind of like overlay menu and show you how I've set it up, and also show you what you can tweak in terms of the game itself. And when you get both of those things right, this monitor's gonna take off. So let's get into it. So quite a few of you asked me about the Xbox Series X and what settings to use, and in particular with the M28U monitor. So we're going to run through first the Xbox settings and then the monitor settings, and do it with a game running. I think that's really important to make sure you're doing it with actual gameplay on screen, and then you're going to see how you can get the most out of this monitor and really make it pop. So first we're going to dive into the Xbox Series X. So bring up your overlay with the X button, head all the way to the right, down to settings, jump in. This won't automatically jump into 4K, 120 Hertz and HDR. You need to turn all that on. It's off by default. So if you jump into TV and display options, resolution you need to set to 4K UHD. It's probably 1080 when you first plug this monitor in, and you need to increase the refresh rate to 120 Hertz. So just go ahead and set that. You then want to jump into video modes, and you want to have 4K on. So that means it will always be pushing a 4K signal to the monitor regardless of what monitor you have pushed in, but obviously default to that where possible. HDR10, you want that on because that's really going to make your colors pop. And auto HDR, so this will go through old games and automatically kind of add HDR to key colors and highlights. And yeah, that's kind of it there. Variable refresh rate's good. I'm not able to turn that on at the moment, but jump in and out, and if you're able to push that on, do push that on. And then you want to go through and check this. So this just makes sure everything's set up properly, but you've got basically 4K UHD, which is possible at 60 Hertz and 120 Hertz. You can't do that at lower frame rates for different types of movies or content. This is what movies usually run at, but that's okay. You want this for gaming. And then just make sure you've got that kind of native aspect here. You won't get Dolby Vision with that monitor, but again, you don't really need that. That's fine. Then you want to jump into calibrate the HDR. So this is kind of where you adjust the minimum and maximum threshold that's possible in terms of lighting and what's visible on screen. So you just adjust these squares lighter and darker until you can just see them. So I always go to the bare minimum that's visible, and same here as well. Just as soon as those squares pop in slightly, you set that, and you just keep doing this and run through this until you're just getting that little bit come through. Now I will note, like, the uncalibrated image is looking brighter in this instance, but we're going to compensate for that with the monitor settings, but it's also more blown out, so you're getting more detail on this image here. So then what you want to do is jump into a game. I like to use Dirt 5 because I think the visuals look awesome, and it definitely runs at 120 Hertz. So I just go back to my games, boot that up. I like to jump into a race as well quite quickly, so I think that makes all the difference for how things will look. So set arcade mode or whatever, choose a car that's glossy so you can get all the reflections coming in, and also make sure the weather is set to like bright, because if you're trying to set your monitor colors when it's like overcast or raining, you're not going to get it right. But here you can see Brazil's great because you've got a good variety of blues and greens, the dirt color, the color of the car, everything's contrasting nicely. Now if you push the button on the back, the little joystick, go up to settings, you'll see here I'm running at 4K resolution. I've got my black equalizer set to 8. I don't use any overdrive, which is basically prioritizing certain monitor like frame rate versus resolution. I just keep balance because this monitor HDMI 2.1 is about balance, so you're going to get that anyway. And FreeSync has to be off to get the most out of this monitor as well. So I set super resolution to 4 because I think that just looks a bit sharper. If I turn it down, it just looks a bit muddier. So I think it just gets a bit more out of that 4K monitor, gives it a bit of crispness. Display mode full, overdrive balance. You can prioritize speed or picture quality. Maybe if you're doing some Gaming, you want to prioritize speed, but I've turned that off. And FreeSync tends to muck with the picture a little bit. I think it adds like a filter or compresses the image, so you don't want to use that. So picture HDR, brightness is set to maximum. I keep that at 100. Light enhance, I've put at 1. I think if you go higher, it's not bad, but it tends to just lose a bit of contrast. So I keep that at 1. Color, I've got it 0. I think if you put that in, the HDR shines through, but for me, it looks unrealistic and washed out, a little bit overblown, oversaturated. So I keep that off. Dark enhance on, that's really important. Gives you a bit of extra contrast. And local dimming on as well. If you turn that off, the image won't look as bright. And that's pretty much it. There's a few other settings if you just want to see what I'm running here, and you'll get the summary like when you drop down to picture. So here in a nutshell, HDR, brightness 100, contrast 50, sharpness 5, gamma off, and some custom color temperature. But really that's to your lighting. Input, auto detect for RGB PC range, but it's not really relevant. Overscan off. Yeah, and the rest of these settings don't really matter for picture quality, so just make sure you save them so it'll turn on automatically next time. And that's it. So if you see now, we jump into a bit of gameplay. Obviously I'm behind here, maybe I'll just do a quick restart. You're going to see how great this looks, and this level's awesome for showing off. You get all the little kind of neat features in next gen, so you can see the reflections on the car look amazing. The color of the car pops. The detail on the dirt looks great. The fireworks, the flames up here, the water, this is such a visual showcase. This game really shows off everything. And I'm not racing well because I'm chatting to you guys. Look, let's just run through, see how everything looks. Amazing. But yeah, you'll get the better view. Jumping out. Just pause in this water. Look at that mud and water. Oh, looks amazing, beautiful. I tried to pause, but I got smashed from behind. So yeah, those are the settings. Like each game will be a bit different. So for me, that's what works for Dirt, but you want to jump into some other games and just experiment a little bit, probably more with the color, the HDR, probably more than anything else. I think you can leave most of the other settings the same, but yeah, I find this works well for this and Halo. And yeah, each game is set up differently. It's a different piece of art, and you're going to want to experience that in different ways. So don't be afraid to tweak it based on games, but I think this is a really great default setting that should work for most. Well, this has been your host Josh. This is Xbox XL. See you in the next video.
Let's get out of here. like a sunrise.